Hey everyone, and welcome to the New Entrepreneurs Podcast. We're now on episode 8. Today we have a little different episode. We're going to move from the classic podcast and do a little interview because our guest today is very interesting. She has a great new venture coming out. So without further ado, here's Magali Velasco. Hi.
Hi, thanks Thomas for this great introduction. I'm good, how are you?
Great. So you're now 26 years old. You just started, you're here to talk about something, so kind of introduce yourself to our viewers who might not know you.
Well, my name is Magali Velasco. I'm 26 years old now, I'm French. I'm now living in Canada, in Toronto. So yeah, I've moved to Canada 2 years ago, and my big project coming up soon, that you briefly mentioned, is my swimwear company, Velos. That's coming out in May 2027, so I'm really excited for that.
Okay, great. Good to hear. Yeah, I've been researching Velos, and I also did a little stalking of you, and I found that you had this idea because you kind of grew up on an island. So tell us a little bit about that.
Exactly. Well, I grew up in Mauritius Island, so I moved there when I was 9 years old, and I lived there until I was 18. So I always, I always lived in a bikini. I was always in a bikini, and so I always had this project in my head. But I think I was putting barriers, telling myself that I should continue with my studies and maybe I'll do it some days.
Mm-hmm.
And well, the time has come. So now I'm launching my own sustainable bikini company, and everything's gonna be produced in Mauritius. All of the fabrics are gonna be from Mauritius as well. Yeah.
So tell us why you're in Toronto, Canada then.
Well, I decided to move to Canada 2 years ago because I've done my exchange there actually when I was in third year university, when I was studying in Madrid.
Oh, you were studying in Madrid?
I was studying
didn't
in Madrid.
know.
And I've heard you've done your master's at
Yeah, so
That's
we're in Madrid right now for this podcast, and you did your master's where? Did you do a master's?
No. I did a master's, but I did it in a French university.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
And how do you think that experience really shaped yourself and your new venture you're coming out with? Because you didn't always work as an entrepreneur. You were kind of in the
diplomatic world, exactly. So when I studied in Madrid, I was doing my undergrad there. Studied international relations, which was very interesting, and I was passionate about that at the time. And so I thought I wanted to continue towards that path and work in the diplomatic field.
Mm-hmm.
And so after I graduated, I took a year off where I did a 6 months internship for the French embassy in London. So I was thrilled to get that job, and I really, really enjoyed it, but it was extremely demanding at the same time. And after having some hard months, I decided to, when my internship ended, they asked, would you stay for another year? Or I think it was another 9 months, or I could take 6 months off and then, do whatever I wanted, apply for my master's, because I was scared that I wouldn't be able to do a master's if I stayed. And so, I did that. I mean, I took the adventurous, risky path, and I traveled for 6 months. I did a bunch of, new discoveries. I met a lot of very interesting people that are still my friends. And then I applied for a master's, and I ended up in France for my master's, where I studied business, because I was always very interested.
So you're from Mauritius, I'm from Réunion, I'm living in Madrid, you're living in Canada, we're so international, and you've done all this traveling, so you're such an explorative person, but so after having experienced so much in the world and it pretty much shaping up your life so far, what's some advice you give to, let's say, your 21-year-old self, still in undergraduate program in Madrid? What would you tell them today?
So 5 years ago?
Yeah.
I think I'd tell myself that everything will be okay, that you always find a solution to your problem. So I was always very stressed out. I remember being stressed out about, not stupid things, but things that don't really deserve the stress. And so just tell myself to, take a deep breath, relax, and there's always a solution to anything you face.
That is some great advice, Magali.
Thank you.
I don't want to take up too much of your time because you're such an important business person. But, what's next for you, Magali? Like, there's so much you've done already. What's next?
So I'm really working a lot on that launch that's coming in May. And yeah, I guess as I just said, I'm putting way less pressure on myself now. You know, I'm a new entrepreneur, just starting. I have a very small team. We're trying to make, you know, something out of this big project where we really value ethics and that, you know, good ethical values and sustainability. So we're taking it step by step. And yeah, so I think we're just working towards, you know, reaching small goals and then see where it takes us. If it has to, you know, if it has to change or if it has to finish, well, I'm sure it's to open up another door at the end of the day. So yeah, I'm very optimistic and I will see what happens for the future.
It was great to hear from you.
Thank you.
If any of you missed that, Maghalie's Velos swimwear is releasing May 2027.
Yeah.
The website's
The
out.
13th.
May 13th.
May
Wow.
13th.
Important date. My birthday. Yeah, honestly, congratulations on that. We're all so excited to do you have a men's collection?
Probably no, not for the moment, but in the years to come, hopefully.
Okay, well, we're super excited. We're so happy to learn about, you know, your past, where you want to take your future, and you know, if you're ever in Madrid again, you have a home here.